Sonic, the heart of your system.
Hello, BRIONY here from Kit Guru, and in this video I'm taking a look at the HS60 Pro Surround headset from CORSAIR. So that name might sound familiar to you. CORSAIR already have the HS60 headset, so the new Pro Surround is basically kind of a re-release of that original headset with a few improvements. It comes in with a £65 price tag, which is slightly cheaper than the original version, and CORSAIR have also supposedly made improvements to the sound and also the comfort as well. I personally have never actually tried out the original HS60 headset, so I am going to be reviewing the HS60 Pro Surround as kind of a new headset, but just to make you aware, it is very similar to one that's already on the market. So the headset that I'm going to be reviewing is a black and yellow coloration, but it also does come in a carbon option as well, which is kind of the black and white option. When it comes to the overall design, I must say I do quite like it. I don't think CORSAIR have really made any changes to the overall look of the headset compared to the older version. It has some really nice kind of black and yellow contrast stitching at the top of the headband. You've got the CORSAIR branding across the top there, kind of in the faux leather material, and then all the plastic areas have a nice kind of soft touch matte coating, which feels good to touch and also looks rather good as well. Each of the ear cups has kind of like an open back design. They've got this kind of mesh cover, so they do look like an open back headset even though they aren't. You've also got another bit of CORSAIR branding, so you've got their kind of flag logo on each of the ear cups, and I do quite like the kind of contrast once again of the yellow surround around the outside of the headset. You've also got a little bit of kind of colour inside the headband as well on the stitching of each of the ear cups. In general though, I must say it doesn't really look like a gaming headset. If you remove the microphone, it does just look like a really nice pair of headphones, and you could quite happily take these out and about with you and just use them as a normal pair of headphones with your phone while you're listening to music or something. When it comes to the overall build quality of this headset, I must say I was reasonably impressed. It does have quite a lot of plastic going on, being sort of like a mid-range headset, but the plastic that has been used is quite solid and sturdy. The faux leather is nice and soft, and it's all well finished and neatly stitched, so I've got no problems there. Also, the cable was nicely braided as well. It's a really neat braid, it's quite soft. The cable itself isn't the kind of longest that I've seen. I would maybe like the cable to be a little bit longer if you're someone that has your PC situated a bit further away from your desk, but in general it is definitely better than some headsets that I've tested. Also with this headset, it does have some aluminium construction going on, so over the top of the headband, parts of it do feel very solid and sturdy. However, the headband is also where I said the build quality is probably lacking a little bit, which is a shame, as it's probably the part of the headset you want to actually be the most sturdy. It does have a good amount of flex to it, but it almost feels like it has kind of like a cardboard layer over the top here, and when you bend it, it all kind of scrunches up and things. Also, on the actual kind of extendable bit itself, you can see that it does have this plastic joint in the middle, and even though this allows for a little bit of movement, for me it does feel like quite a weak spot. I'd really like the whole headband to be one continuous strip of aluminium and attached onto the ear cups. I feel like this little plastic joint here is probably going to take a lot of stress over time, and it probably won't fare so well when it comes to the longevity. When it comes to using this headset, you'll find that it is a multi-platform gaming headset. So you've got the option to use the 3.5mm jack, which it will plug into pretty much any compatible device. However, if you do want to use the microphone as well, you will have to make sure it's a combination audio jack, which will do both audio and microphone within the one port. When it comes to the 7.1 surround sound, you do have this extra kind of dongle here. So this is what kind of creates the artificial surround sound that you get from this headset, because obviously it does only have the kind of two stereo speakers, but this is what turns it into a kind of surround sounding headset. So this you will need a PC to use. It is kind of like a USB dongle, and you toggle the 7.1 surround sound on using the CORSAIR IQ software. To me, I don't particularly like how this sounds. I do personally prefer the headset on its own without having the 7.1 surround sound turned on. Also with this headset, you will find that the microphone is removable. So like I said, you can take it out and it does turn into quite a nice pair of headphones. The microphone is nice and easy to kind of adjust and get into place. It feels like a good quality microphone. And when you do remove it, you actually have a little rubber stopper to put inside the headset to kind of block that port off to stop any dust and stuff getting into it. But I can imagine that maybe the little rubber stopper might be quite easy to lose. The headset itself is quite a lightweight and good size headset. It definitely suits my smaller head. Some of the larger headsets I do definitely look a little bit funny and they do sit too low down onside my head. For those of you that have a kind of a larger head or a more normal size head, you do have a decent amount of flexibility and also a good range of adjustability as well. So you've got these two little sliders that slide out there on a ratchet system, and you've got kind of 8 different steps to choose between if you do want to adjust the headset to be a slightly larger size. However, the one issue I had with this headset when it comes to comfort is that the clamping force is really quite tight. I don't have a particularly large head, so I'm not stretching the headset out to kind of like its full capacity, but it did definitely give me that kind of squashed feeling. Corsair have made improvements to the kind of memory foam padding, but I did still find it pretty uncomfortable to wear for an extended period of time. Unfortunately, I can't test this headset over a really long time. I've only got it for a week or so before I can actually go live with the review. So it is something that could maybe improve with use. I suppose the one benefit of it though is that it does hold in place really well. So if you like to jump around or jump up and down or run around, wear the headset while you're doing something a bit more vigorous than just sitting in front of your PC, then that could come in handy. But for me, I personally didn't like the feel of it. Also with this headset, the top of the headband, the padding that's up there isn't really very forgiving, and it is an issue I do have with quite a few different gaming headsets, and I get a bit of a pressure point at the top of my head. It's not really a problem for a couple of hours, but wearing the headset for an entire day, I definitely did find it uncomfortable and I definitely did want to stop using the headset. The ear cups have a nice little feature that they do kind of swivel, so you can make sure they lie nice and flat up against your head. However, they don't rotate to 90 degrees, so you can't lay them flat around your neck or lay them flat on a desk, for example. The padding inside the ear cups is definitely pretty good. It is definitely, Corsair mentioned it as something they improved over the previous version, and it is really quite a nice sort of memory foam padding in there, which I think should last over a decent amount of time because it does have that kind of firmness to it, so you know it's not going to squash down immediately. So it is a comfortable headset to wear, but only for a short period of time for me personally. The controls for the headset are situated on the left ear cup. That's definitely a bonus for me because I don't particularly like inline controls. I think they can get in the way and be a little bit fiddly. So on this headset, they are nice and easy to get to. You've got a button to mute and unmute the microphone, which is really quite prominent. You can definitely tell just by feeling whether it's muted or unmuted, and you're not going to accidentally press it or anything. Also, you've got the kind of volume control wheel. So this volume control wheel doesn't work with the PC in that it will actually change the volume in Windows, so it does work independently of the PC like most multi-platform headsets, but it is a nice volume scroll wheel to use. It has like a good texture to it, it's nice and easy to feel for, and you're not going to kind of accidentally crank up the volume or something while you're trying to play a game. So in general, I do definitely like those on the headset controls. When it comes to the audio on this headset, I always find audio is something that's quite difficult to describe. Actually in words, hearing something and then putting it into words is always a bit awkward. With this headset though, even though it is a budget headset, the audio does sound pretty good. Corsair said that is something they tried to improve over the previous headset, and I think for most gamers it will sound perfectly fine. However, I have heard better headsets at this particular price point. Something like the MH751 from Coolmaster does definitely have a slightly better audio quality over this HS60. For me, the bass was kind of definitely there, but it didn't really have much depth to it, and overall the kind of audio was a little bit muddy. When it comes to the 7.1 surround sound, it definitely decreases the experience if you're going to be listening to something like music or movies, but when it comes to gaming, obviously it does kind of enhance the kind of immersion that you're going to get, because you feel like you're more sort of within the game. You can hear footsteps and explosions and gunfire and kind of the direction they're coming from from a little bit more clearly. There is definitely kind of a front, middle and back kind of audio space. However, for me, I just left the 7.1 surround sound off most of the time because I didn't really like what it did to the audio. I also found that if you crank up the volume on this headset, you do get a little bit of distortion as well, which is typical of most budget gaming headsets.
I'm now talking using the inbuilt microphone on this headset, and as you can hear, it's nice and loud and clear. It does come through at a good volume. It does sound a little bit on the nasally side, so it does sound slightly like I'm pinching my nose. However, it is a lot better than some gaming headset I've heard that might even cost twice the price of this particular headset. I also found that it has a little bit of a background hiss, but in general I do think it does sound pretty good. You also have the addition of an optional foam filter. As you can see, I'm not actually using my headset with the foam filter. It doesn't seem to have too much effect on the sound, but obviously it is a nice addition if you're going to be using it outside in kind of like a windy environment while you're playing on your Switch or something. When it comes to the noise cancelling on this headset, Corsair does claim that it has some noise cancelling. To me, I don't really find that it has any. If I turn around and press some keys on my mechanical keyboard, you can probably hear that you can definitely hear the sound of those keys clicking away. I also found that if you play any music in the background, that also comes through the microphone as well. So in general, it doesn't really have much of a noise cancelling feature, but it does make your voice nice and loud and clear.
So overall, what do I think of the HS60 Pro headset from Corsair? In general, I think it is a very good headset to look at. I think Corsair have obviously put kind of a lot of effort into the overall design. It looks like a really good pair of headphones, but it just has the extra functionality of the microphone and the 7.1 surround. Also, I think it does come in at a fair price point. £65 I think is fair enough for kind of the overall build quality and the sound that comes from this headset. The only kind of niggly things I have though is that for me it's not the most comfortable headset. Obviously Corsair have made improvements to kind of the foam padding and things, but the main issue is definitely that clamping force. I just think it does squeeze your head a little bit too tightly. Also, even though the overall build quality of the headset is really very good for a budget headset, it does have the one weak spot, and that's this plastic joint. I'm not sure how well that's going to kind of hold up over extended use, sort of years and years of taking the headset on and off. When it comes to the sound quality, it is definitely good. It's not the best that I've heard, but I think it is perfectly fine and most gamers aren't going to have a problem. The microphone is also really good as well, so if you're playing a lot of team games and you definitely want your teammates to be able to hear you, then the microphone on this headset is definitely nice and loud and clear. So overall, this headset does have its ups and downs. It's not a perfect headset, but it does come in at a pretty fair price point. Let me know what you think in the comments, whether you think this headset is something worth buying. I do think it is worth considering if you're a multi-platform gamer on a budget. If you like this video from KitGuru, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Please remember to hit the subscribe button as well. That really helps us out. And press the little bell icon and you'll get a notification every time a new video goes live.